All right, welcome everyone to the Singapore Grand Prix. This is round 16 of ZOR EU Tier 1. Getting very close to the end of the season here. Definitely on the back end of things, so just waiting for the lobby to get started. But yeah, Singapore, very exciting track. Got a lot to watch today, so eager to hopefully we get a dry race. Singapore in the rain is, Singapore normally is a challenge. In the rain it's very hard, but it looks dry, so that's good. But yeah, Singapore in the past was in 2019 a track where qualifying strategy was incredibly important, because last year the soft tires were only really good for about 2 or 3 laps, and a one-stop was almost impossible. This year, one-stop shouldn't be too hard. Soft hard is a lot easier to do this year than it was last year. And the other interesting thing to keep an eye on as we wait, we have a couple of drivers who look like they're preparing to go out, getting their setups loaded and everything. But one of the things we had that's going to be interesting to watch this year is there are the one-stop soft to hard versus the two-stop soft medium in a vacuum without having to consider overtakes or anything. The two-stop is actually faster, but with overtakes and lap traffic and all of that stuff, my guess is a lot of drivers will opt for the one-stop. But yeah, the two-stop, if you were just doing the laps on your own, might be a little bit faster. So it'll be interesting to see what drivers choose to do. There's obviously going to be a high risk of safety car being a street circuit with walls very close. Safety car or VSC probably pretty likely to come out. So we'll see how drivers work that into their strategies as well. But yeah, definitely the qualifying and track position going to be important. You can overtake here. It's hard though. You kind of have to wait for the drivers in front to make a mistake, which happens a lot around here because it's an incredibly challenging track. But yeah, it is without a mistake. It is pretty hard to pass just because of the nature of the track. But, looks like Zwiedema is going to be the first to set a time today, so we'll ride on board with him for the lap. He is on the softs. Going through the... it's a very long out lap here, because it's a pretty long track and a lot of corners, so have a lot of time to prepare your tires for the lap. But we'll start with him. This first sector, entry to turn 1, super important. You can see how wide he gets there on entry, and then just having to be very delicate over the curbs and track limits through the first sector. Looked pretty good. Important to carry a lot of speed through this right-hander. As you accelerate down the DRS straight and open that DRS, there's a slight kink to the right. Trying to keep the car in a straight line as much as possible, not scrub off any speed. Braking for this left-right here. Really important to be brave on the brakes, take a late apex through there, and then get the car set up well for this left. And once again, you're trying to carry as much speed as possible, because every extra mile an hour you're able to carry is going to help you down this straight. And then this is one of the hardest parts of the entire track, just having to thread it over those curves, having to keep the car exactly on line there, and then braking for the very challenging hairpin there at the end of sector 2. So that portion of the track right there can make or break your lap. He looked pretty solid through there, did Zwiedema. And now a lot of 90-degree corners in this final sector. So a lot to keep track of there as well. Really trying to be precise with the steering wheel, precise on when you apply the throttle and brake there, because precision's super important through the third sector. Trying to get aggressive through that corner, get as close to the wall as possible. And we'll see what time he's able to set. Looks like a very tight lap from Zwiedema, and we know his pace. It's a 34.5. Jake Cole, his teammate, almost is second behind him, but he is on the medium tires. California now, looking like he's in the third sector. Adri sets slow times, and Mogul sets a slow time, so they might have made a mistake or something like that, or just trying to burn down some fuel. California's going to cross the line. He goes P3, play 36.2, so he's still behind J. Cole, who is on mediums. JXW is going to cross the line now. He goes behind his teammate by about 0.6 of a second, but once again on the mediums. Barton is invalid. RC looks like he had to abandon his lap. Miami, our championship leader, still in the pits. But looks like he's actually on his way out right now. Or maybe that's Dylan. Not too sure. No, yeah. Dylan's still in the pits. Miami's just about to the end of the pit lane there. So I will make sure we follow along with Miami when that time comes. But yeah, that after the first round of laps, so the yellow flag in sector 2 looks like RC getting out of somebody's way. But after that first round of laps, it is Redema who we followed along with, who's in P1 right now with a 34.5. Everybody else kind of in the 35s, 36s, 37s. This track, 22 corners, I believe, so a lot of places to make mistakes. So yeah, that will explain the spread in lap times that you wouldn't see at a track like we had last week, like with Monza or something like that. So trying to see anybody's on a hot lap right now. It looks like JXW might be the only one who's on a hot lap. He might have gone for 2 in a row on those mediums, or maybe he's coming near the pits and it's just a quick in lap. His teammate ahead of him giving yellow flags. He might be out of fuel or just slowing down for some reason. And he's going to go into the pits, so Adri's invalid. Here we go. Larkin's finishing up a flying lap, and he's got a little bit of traffic to contend with, and it looks like that might have just slowed him down. Oh, frustrated with Larkin there. He might get some action from the stewards for that. Going around, I believe that was RC and Fuzz to get into the pits, but yeah, we'll have to wait to see what the stewards do about that. But now we'll follow along with our championship leader Miami as he's going to set his first lap. I'm going for the mediums here. He might just see where this time puts him. I think if most drivers had their pick, they would choose to go medium hard. Just that's the strategy that allows you to be kind of on the preferred tire for as long as possible, and not have to worry too much about tire wear. So he might just see where this puts him, because if he's able to you know, if he's maybe on the second or third row on those mediums, he might keep that, knowing he can be on the preferred strategy, you know. P5 on the mediums might be better than P2 on the softs for Miami, so he might just be seeing where this lap puts him. So far, most of the drivers who have set times have done so on the soft tires, so not surprised to see that. Oops. Not surprised to see that, but be interested to see what strategies they opt for in the race. Yep, and somebody confirmed in the chat there we will have a clear race, so excellent. Miami, who ran out of DRS, where does he go? P2. So he's into the 34s on those mediums. That's a very, very nice time. He goes 0.3 ahead of his championship rival, J. Cole, who was also on the medium tires. So that is a very, very solid lap from Miami. He is going to be really, really pleased with that. That's a very nice position for him to be in. Barton in the second sector now. Barton also on the mediums, so a lot of drivers, I think, trying to keep their options open in terms of strategy. If you can get a really good lap in on the mediums, you might prefer to start with those tires than on the softs. But like I said, you can make the one stop happen if that's what you choose if you're starting on the softs. But then also a two stop with, you know, knowing that safety cars could come out, that might help with strategy. There's a lot to consider here, and for a lot of the drivers, it'll just be what tire they feel more comfortable on. So there's some drivers who just probably don't even want to touch the softs. As Barton invalidates there, that's tough from him. Let's see what his time would be anyway. Would have been a 35.1, which would have put him into P4. So it would have been a very good lap. So he's someone to keep an eye on as he goes through. Who was that who just set that time? Was that... I'm not sure who just set that time. But he's someone to keep an eye on. For the remainder of the session. Looks like Fuzz is on the lap, so we'll follow along with him. He's a 10th down on his time right now, which would be very close to getting ahead of Bag of Bones. A little bit of a lockup there, but not too bad. He's still got the car rotated pretty well through there. He's got DRS open. Looks like he might be running into a tiny bit of traffic here in the third sector. These final couple of corners, so hard with the curve, so hard to get right. Just ran out of battery there, but he does go P3, so he goes ahead of J. Cole. He splits those two medium runners. So that's going to throw a wrench maybe into J. Cole's plans. He might have to go out again on the soft tires this time if he's looking to maximize his track position. Bag of Bones now on a flyer. Let's see what he's able to do on medium tires. So interesting, he has his time set on softs and is now trying to beat that on mediums. Not quite sure what the plan was there, but yeah, he's someone to keep an eye on. Dylan's coming into the pits. Zamaglis, championship contender for championship leader. See what he's able to do as well. Bag of Bones is not improving on his last time, so you know, he's almost 4/10 slower this lap than he was on his 35.6 that he set on softs. And he goes just slightly slower by 1/2 Oh, so he got so close to improving there. That would have really made his afternoon a lot more enjoyable. Adri has gone P2, Zamaglis on mediums, only managing P12 at the moment, but Adri on softs, he's put himself right up there as well, so he's contender. He's only 2/10 softs to be demo, so fantastic lap from Adri. Both McLarens having a very strong showing in qualifying right now, so I don't know what's in the water over there at McLaren, but it's working for him at the moment. As JXW on the softs improves his time by about a second, he goes into P8. Don't think there's anybody on a flying lap right now. A lot of people on out laps and in laps. But just checking the battery deployment, I see a lot of zeros. I don't see anybody turned it up into hot lap mode, so. Reckon someone who's capable of pulling out a lap, so we'll follow along with him, and we know what Barton the lap he invalidated, so both of these drivers will be definitely keeping an eye on. As we demos on the medium tires, so our provisional pole sitter right now with a 34.5 set that time on softs. He's trying to go out and beat it on mediums now, so maybe he's thinking that he will, I don't know if he didn't have the engine turned up or if he wasn't pushing quite as hard on his lap, but we've seen this with a couple drivers now, starting on softs and now trying to beat it with mediums. Something about that lap didn't feel quite right to him. He's turned down the battery. Looks like he's aborted that lap, but driver's still on their outlaps. It's such a long outlap with how many corners this track has. The outlap takes a couple minutes, which you got to time it towards the end of the session well. If you want to go out right when the session ends, you got to probably be going out about now to get all the way around, but looks like Larkin started his lap. He looks like he let the Racing Point of Barton through, maybe to get some space, or maybe Larkin, yeah, I don't know what happened there, but we're on board with Beck, or following along with Beck right now. He's provisionally P6 on the soft tires, and that was his fastest time, and he's on soft tires right now. Looks okay through there, a little bit of wobble on exit. Let's see how his time compares. He's down by almost 2/10, so right now that's not going to be enough to get ahead of J. Cole, but it'll put him close if he's able to find similar time through the third sector, which I would imagine, knowing this track, that the tires are going to help you the most in the third sector. That's where you've got, you know, these tight 90-degree corners where the ooh, as he loses it there on the penultimate corner. Ooh, and then the front wing made him even lose pit entry. So tough end to what looked like a pretty solid lap from Beck there. He probably isn't going to have time to get out for another lap, unfortunately. So that's probably going to be all he's able to manage for this session. Let's see what Larkin's been able to do on mediums as he's rounding the final corner. And he goes P3, so a 34.8 for Larkin. Let's see what Barton's able to do. Looks like he maybe had to abort his lap. Maybe he stayed out for another lap. But J. Cole has decided to go softs, and he's gone on pole position with a 34.7. So fantastic from J. Cole. Let's see what his teammate's able to do on mediums. Not able to, or he's able to improve. So it was Wiedema, who's on pole. On softs is now improved onto the mediums. J. Cole, who was on the mediums, is now improved to the softs. So a little bit of role reversal there from the Williams. Wiedema is going to be feeling really solid about that lap time, and on the mediums, he's going to be in a really good position for the race. Larkin now looks like he's continuing for another lap, even though he's almost out of battery. Let's see what Fuzz is able to do on softs. Beck's in the pit, bag of bones, now just starting a lap, it looks like. Looks like he's going to be the last one to start a lap. Fuzz is improving by a little, not a lot. Let's see, there's someone about to cross the line. Who is it? Barton goes P8, so pretty decent lap from Barton, having to leave it to the end of the session. Larkin crossing the line now. He goes P3 again. He improves a little bit there. Who's next to cross the line? Is it going to be one of the Williams? Is Wiedema carrying on, or is he coming in this lap? Looks like he's carrying on. He's going to finish out the lap. We'll see where that puts him when he slows down. So he's not improving too much. Looks like Fuzz crossed the line, didn't improve substantially. Adri through third sector now. He's P4 at the moment. A really strong showing from Adri. He's had great pace lately. See if he can keep that run of form up, and he goes P2. So, on to the front row for Adri. Fantastic time. A Haas into the pits. Renault into the pits. Looks like most drivers now in the pits. I think the only one left is Zenith. He crosses the line, P14. Mercedes going to be starting at the back. Looks like everybody else is finished with qualifying. So some really interesting tire choices from some of these drivers. As you can come to expect from Singapore, some people liking the softs, some people wanting to avoid the softs at all costs. So the qualifying as it stands now. We finished now, so we'll run through the order in just a minute, but Adri, fantastic job from him. Standout performance, I think, in qualifying. He goes onto the front row on some soft tires, so yeah, it is J. Cole on pole position by almost half a second, so very strong pole position from J. Cole. Adri P2 on softs. Zuidema and Larkin on the second row, both on mediums. Miami's on the mediums as well, so interesting tire difference there in the top 5. Then it's Fuzz in 6th, Bag of Bones in 7th, and Beck in 8th. All three of those drivers on the softs. Barton P9 on mediums, JXW P10 on softs. Then looking down outside the top 10, we have RC, California, Dylan, Zenith, and Zamoglis. So 2 Mercedes starting at the back, but it is a Williams and a McLaren on the front row, both on soft tires. So it'll be really, really interesting to see what those drivers choose to do strategy-wise, and if they're going to try and hold track position and just do a one-stop, or if they like their pace and think they can pull off a two-stop going from the softs to the mediums. So it's going to be really interesting to see what those drivers do. We are supposed to have clear weather for the race as well, so hopefully no rain to complicate matters. Yeah, we'll just take a pause here for just a moment. A lot to anticipate about this race, though. Like I said, it being a street circuit, so many opportunities for losing a front wing, losing an end plate, unscheduled pit stops probably likely going to happen. Track limits can be tough around here. The pit entry, I think, is the hardest pit entry on the calendar, so likely we'll see some speeding into the pit lane violations as well. So, you know, there's a lot to consider about this track, and gotta be really careful. J. Cole and Adri will have to do their best to keep their tires warm. You can see there, predicting the two-stop strategy for those drivers on the softs. You can do a one-stop, though. The hard tires around here are pretty durable. So you can one-stop even if you're starting on the softs. Adri's eager to get on with the formation lap. I would maybe advise against that. I don't think you want to be sitting on the grid for any extra time. Don't want to take anything extra out of those soft tires. They struggle enough for tire life as is. And the field's starting to get kind of spread out. You don't want that either if you're on the front row, sitting there with cold tires. But looks like they're I almost had to check and think that the race starts. No, still formation lap. They're just really getting aggressive out there at the front, but oops, somebody spun. I think that was Larkin. Oh, and he's collected some people on the way back. Thankfully, no damage on the formation lap. Otherwise, we're going to have some trouble. but so yeah, once again, 2-stop or 1-stop, both possible here. I imagine a lot will depend on early safety cars and damage and all of that, so we'll just have to wait and see. But the rest of the grid forming up now, and we will get underway. Alright, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. It is lights out and away we go. Looks like a fantastic start from Adri. He's gotten a very nice start, but has been matched by J. Cole. Zwiedema with an amazing start, but J. Cole holds on to the lead. Zwiedema has gotten ahead of Adri into the opening corner, so great start from both Williams. J. Cole holding on to P1, Zwiedema grabbing P2, Adri's falling down to P3. Other winners and losers from the first few corners, it looks like Miami has gained a position on Larkin. It looks like Beck has gained a couple of positions. Dylan and Barton are going side by side into the braking zone. How brave is Dylan going to be? He's going to outbrake RC. Just about. They're going side by side again. All kinds of action in front as Fuzz and Beck are going side by side. RC doing a good job defending that position, and Dylan just doesn't have anywhere to go. But we see almost 3 wide down this back straight, riding on with Vagabonds now, looking ahead at Beck and Fuzz, braking for this left-hander. Good job from Fuzz to get through there cleanly. A big lockup as he's going through there. Larkin now on the back of Miami, trying to get any sort of view at an overtake on our championship leader Miami right now. Looks like Barton has ended up losing 3 positions on lap 1. Zamondlis has traded places with his teammate Jinnit. California drops back a position. Dylan's gained 2 positions, so not a ton of changes up and down the field yet. I'm sure it will come. But I think the biggest winner lap 1 has to be Zwiedema. He's now in P2 on the medium tires, so not only is he gained a position, but he also still has probably what he's going to feel like are the best tires to be on at the moment. As we have once we pass the timing line, we'll get this glitch sorted out. But yeah, I think Zwiedema is going to be thrilled with where he is right now. Almost 3 wide from Miami, Adri, and looks like Larkin. Here we go. Finally, the order's just settled down again. But those 3 drivers almost nose to tail. Couple of clusters starting to form. Something happened to JXW. He's lost an end plate. He's lost his left end plate, and he's down, falling down the order. He's going to have to pit and get that replaced, and he'll have to pray for a safety car now. But up at the front, it is J. Cole leading from pole position on the soft tires. His teammate Zwiedema was able to get by Adri into the opening corner, he's now still within a second of his teammate. We're looking down here at a battle for third. It is Adri, who's on the soft tires, leading Miami and Larkin, who both qualified on medium. So this will be another interesting battle between these drivers. We'll see how aggressive Miami is going to be trying to overtake Adri here, especially as those soft tires start to fall. So lap 3 now, DRS is enabled. I'm just going to check. I saw some comments pop up. I'm going to check those real quick. So, what tires is everyone on? Very good question. There you go. There's our tire information. Looks like outside the top 10, not a driver starting on hards. As we have lost JX, we know he had damage early on, so he might just be deciding to end his race there. We see Barton and Dylan each coming into the pits. They must have had some damage as well to fix, each of them boxing for the hards. But outside the top 10, looks like everybody went for mostly hards, just going to run into the race and take advantage of whatever sort of safety car comes their way. So up at the front, it is still Zuidema within half a second, within that DRS window of his teammate. As we have Miami, who's getting by Adri now. Adri is now losing out to Larkin as well, so Adri, in the space of 2 corners, lost 2 positions, and I wonder if he maybe has some damage. It looks like his front wing's okay. But those soft tires just not quite sticking around for Adri. It's a shame he had such a great qualifying P2 and is now just struggling in these opening laps of the race as he's fallen to P5. His teammate Fuzz has done a pretty good job hanging on to P6. Looking down the order. Looks like our closest battle is still for P3. As Larkin is all over the back of Miami, I wonder if he'll try and overtake now. There's some clear track ahead of him, so if Larkin can make this overtake stick, he's going to go up the inside of the right-hand kink, which turns to the outside, throw this left-hander at the end of the DRS straight, and he gets that move done. So yeah, if Larkin can now take advantage of this clean air, he might be able to close the gap to the Williams, who are kind of just doing their own race at the front at the moment. It's we demo on the mediums. It's the medium tires are the tires to be on at the moment. The softs just don't look like they've got enough grip to last for more than a couple laps. As we have a yellow flag as someone's gone around. Looks like it's Beck. Beck all turned around at the exit of this chicane, or at the exit of the hairpin. Not sure what caused that, but his tires are overheated and he's lost his right end plate, it looks like, as well. So his race not going the way he would have drawn it up. Miami's still hanging on to the back of Larkin, and we have to keep an eye on this fight for the lead as well. Yeah, Larkin, Puff says in the chat, Larkin bringing Miami with him to the front. Yeah, a little bit. If, you know, for Miami, it's not a bad idea to just sit in the slipstream, save some batteries, save some fuel, save some tires, and just hope that you can take advantage of something later on in the race. Some time penalties starting to form. So it's like 3 seconds for RC and 3 seconds for Beck. So glad we can check the time penalties now. For both drivers and for spectating and commentating. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Codemasters. It makes life so much easier. No more having to cycle through Race Director every few laps and try and figure it out. Up at the front, it looks like Zuidema wasn't able to get by J. Cole, so in all of that, I missed a pass for the lead again. It's becoming a theme here, unfortunately. Yeah, those soft tires just not what you want to be on right now. They're great in qualifying, they may be great for the opening lap, but after that, you want to avoid them. And you can just see from our front row of J. Cole and Adri, they've gone from 1 and 2 to 2 and 5. So definitely not the tire if you want to be fighting. And now J. Cole potentially going to be losing out to Larkin on this next DRS straight, just because Larkin's got so much more grip at the moment. Miami's going to be happy to be following along through this as well. He's now brought right back into this podium fight. Let's see if Larkin, he's going to try the same thing. We saw this move a few laps ago from him. We're side by side into the braking zone. A little bit of understeer there from J. Cole, but I was able to control it, and Larkin got the move done. So as we have RC and Bag of Bones battling now through the same corner. Side by side still. Is RC going to make it stick? Yes, oh no, he's not. As Bag of Bones, excuse me, is getting through. So all sorts of overtaking happening. We have Beck, who came into the pits. We saw him go around and lose a front wing, or an end plate rather. What's Miami going to do now? Is he going to make an overtake? He thought better of it. He pulled out, maybe thought about a dive, but backed out of it. If Miami wants to continue to fight for the podium, that's not going to help him as he picks up a time penalty, but he's going to have to get this move done. You can see the gap that Larkin's already formed, almost 1.3, 1.4 seconds. So Miami wants to fight for a podium. He's got to get by this lap. Well, he doesn't need to anymore. As J. Cole's coming to the pits. But he's going to have to now close that gap up a little bit. Adri's staying out for a lap. It looks like Bag of Bones is staying out. Some action in the pits now. Well, Bag of Bones is coming into the pits, excuse me. So we got Zuidema, Larkin, and Miami, the top three at the moment. Miami with a 3-second time penalty, I believe. Just confirm. Yep, it's just 3. Beck is already up to 6 seconds, so not the easiest race for Beck at the moment, but still 24 laps, 23 laps, that can turn around, so. This is the downside to starting on the softs and having to box early. You can see J. Cole now is coming up to some traffic. Zamaglis is on the hards. He started on those tires, starting outside the top 10, so J. Cole's going to have to get this move done. This is where it's so hard having to make those early pit stops and getting put back into traffic. He's got DRS open this lap. Is he going to go for the move? He thought about it. It's such a tricky place to overtake, but Zamaglis has gone straight on. Zamaglis has gone straight on and into the wall, and he's lost the position. Adri, as we anticipated, it's tough, and you can get some very easy to get a speeding penalty, as Adri did. His teammate Fuzz carried on for another lap, so Fuzz definitely going to be trying to do the one stop. Must be pretty confident on those tires still. It's impressive. He either didn't take very much life out of them in qualifying, or is just really enjoying them. Yeah, it's tough for Adri. Speeding into the pit lane is always hard, and as we've seen here, 5 seconds can really come back and get you. Yeah, maybe Fuzz counting on a safety car. Maybe he's going for the soft medium and hoping that a safety car or VSC will help him extend the life of those tires. But you know, it could also be just taking advantage of some clear track. That's kind of what I might be thinking. Like, he's got really no threat from anyone around him at the moment, so if he can just pump in some lap times, we'll see if he dives into the pits now. J. Cole is making his way back through. He gets right up on the gearbox of California, trying to find a way by. Third sector is almost impossible to overtake through those, so he might as well just turn down the engine and wait to the he's right on the back of him. He's almost pushing him around. He's, like I said, if I were him, I would just turn down the engine and wait for the DRS straight. Looks like he's going to try and get that done now. California trying to break the toe, but it's not going to work. J. Cole getting through. Fuzz has gone into the pits this lap. So if he was counting on the safety car, he didn't want to count for another lap. Comes out P10, but a lot of drivers ahead of him will still need to make their stops. So I would not count him out, quite frankly, of even podium contention yet, because, yeah, so that can still happen. This is our closest battle on track right now. I don't imagine it'll stay that way for long as J. Cole's going to start to pull away, but a couple seconds separating most drivers here. Yeah, no one within DRS right now, so up at the front is Wiedema, who has started P3, I believe. Overtook Adri into the first set of corners and overtook his teammate later on. He's enjoying clean air at the moment on his medium tires, and they're still going to be pretty nice for a few laps, I would imagine. Same thing with Larkin, a couple seconds behind. Larkin's actually diving into the pits, so an early pit stop from Larkin. He's maybe just going to be trying to put some pressure on Wiedema. I would imagine he's going to be going onto the hard tires. Yep, he is. So going onto the hards, he's making his stop early. Maybe he thinks he's just got a good window. As Imaglis picks up a 3-second time penalty. Yeah, maybe he's thinking he has a good window, or just trying to put some pressure on Wiedema and go for the undercut. So that'll be something to watch. Miami is going to be temporarily promoted up into P2. And RC in P3. So safety car right now would just be music to Wiedema's ears, as he would be able to make a pit stop, probably retain the lead, and wouldn't have too much to worry about. It really help drivers like Ginnet and RC as well. So this is for the drivers who started on the sauce. This is the time where you're praying that you see green flags, because if a safety car comes out now, I mean, J. Cole's race is going to be thrown, Adri's race is going to be thrown. This is that danger zone when it comes to safety cars. Yeah, J. Cole needs to put in some times now. He's absolutely just. I mean, he's putting in some solid times. That gap was about 10 seconds when he got by California. He's opened up a 6-second gap to California and has closed that gap to Larkin down by a lot too. So yeah, we'll see. Wiedema is going into the pits now, so and Miami as well. So both of them responding to the undercut. It's going to promote RC. If RC stays out, he'll inherit the lead, and this is where I would imagine RC might just try and hang on. RC and Ginnet might just try and hang on for a while and go hold on for a safety car. Just takes one driver, missing one braking point, going into a wall, and the whole, safety car could come out and shake everything up. So I would not be surprised at all to see RC run very deep into this race on the mediums. I would imagine Ginnet will be staying out for as long as he possibly can as well. Just hoping that safety car. Wiedema did come out P3, so he got out ahead of Larkin and Miami. So that undercut not affecting there. Adri is just getting by California there, as California's on some older tires. Yeah, so looks like Larkin is closing up to the back of Wiedema. I would be surprised to see him get an overtake done right now, but knowing the pace that Wiedema's had. Yeah, if J. Cole wants to get into this fight, he's going to have to pick up the pace. His gap to Larkin was about 3.6. It's now about 4.6. So he doesn't have too much pressure from behind him. So if J. Cole wants a chance at winning this race or a podium, he's going to have to find another gear. As Larkin sets the fastest lap, he's on the back as Wiedema, but it doesn't look like he's really in a position to make an overtake. I mean, I could be wrong, but they're on, essentially equal tires. losing a little bit of his overtake. He's got DRS, but he's not close enough. Up at the front, we still have RC and Jinnit who have yet to pit. Zamoglis still needs to pit, as does California. So any driver who hasn't pit right now, I would say, is just praying for a safety car. He's going to stay out until they see some yellow flags. But we've got what that's done is it's bunched up the front here, and it's made it hard for the leaders of Zuidema and Larkin to get through and find that clear air. Now we have Zuidema, who looks like he's getting by Jinnit. Ooh, lockup there, he goes wide, and that's let Larkin through. So that lockup, not only was he not able to get by Jinnit, but that's cost him the lead of the effective lead of the Grand Prix, as he's just lost out to Larkin now. But I was going to say, what all this is doing, this traffic of drivers who've yet to pit, this is giving J. Cole a chance to close that gap up. He needs to take advantage of this time. I know his hard tires are a little bit older than the drivers ahead of him, but he's got to take advantage of these laps where they are stuck in traffic and stuck battling, because once they get by, his job's going to be that much harder. So that gap from between the two Williams, that's the one to keep a hold of right now. Is there's a yellow flag. It looks like that's Beck around. We've lost another wing. I think he had to box once for wing damage. But what that's done is that slowed J. Cole down as well. So up at the front, all sorts of things happening. RC is still in the lead of the Grand Prix. Oh, we have a VSC. VSC's come out now. Shouldn't shake things up too much at the front. That will give Zamoglis a cheap pit stop, which I'm sure he will be thankful for. And it is going to... yeah, I don't think it'll stay out long enough, maybe, for any of the leaders to come in and pit, but... Yep, we're going green again, so... Oh, as California's picked up a drive-through. Oh, unfortunate for him. Those drive-through penalties are basically race-ending. But RC's still out in the lead. Lap time obviously thrown off from the VSC, but this is where J. Cole, I mean, that gap, you know, he's going to have to take advantage right now of Zuidema and Larkin being stuck behind those drivers yet to pit, so this is where he's got to kick it up. Same with Miami. If Miami wants a chance at a podium, wants a chance to extend his championship lead, he's going to have to take advantage in these crucial laps in the middle of the race. A lot can be said about the opening lap, a lot can be said about making overtakes, but it's these sort of laps where you have to take advantage and pump in some solid lap times that is important as well. Speaking of which, Larkin, getting ahead of Jinnit, who's yet to pit, that could be really important as well. Now that's forcing Zuidema to really have to push this overtake, because now Larkin's getting ahead of RC. And so now Zuidema, as he's just about has to force Jinnit off the track a little bit, goes into the back of RC. His front wing looks like it's intact, but just that one move there of Larkin getting by Jinnit, giving them the momentum to get by RC, and now Zuidema is stuck and going to have to force an overtake in order to keep that gap reasonable. So these are the moments where races are won or lost in battles like this, and taking advantage of opportunities of overtakes and catching your rivals sleeping a little bit. So you can see the gap. He's pulled almost 2 seconds already. And Zuidema still not able to get by. That gap is just continuing to grow. So Zuidema, who tried an overtake on Jinnit and failed, locked up with way offline. Larkin was able to get that position. Larkin was able to make the overtake on Jinnit's stick, and then the overtake on RC's stick. And now he's got a 3-second lead. So Zuidema finally getting by. J. Cole did catch up to those drivers, but the damage is done as far as Redem is concerned. Is Larkin's 3.5 seconds clear, and they're basically on similar tires. So this is the race so far, just kind of handed to Larkin. Crazy turn of events here towards the front of the field. We have J. Cole, who's on the back of all this, trying to find his way through. Miami now trying to find his way through. Miami trying to do everything he can to get by. We have a yellow flag in Sector 3. It looks like that is Zamaglis from the Mercedes. Oh, and he's all turned around. Oh, and he's lost a wing. Oh, that's unfortunate, so he's going to have to box now. But Larkin, that gap was 3.5 seconds. Now it's just 3.1 seconds. Zamaglis is coming to the pits and retired, so tough race from him, tough qualifying, starting towards the back, and then yeah, just a couple things go wrong in the race, and you're out of position. So it's tough. Zwiedema has put in the fastest lap and closed that up a little bit, but still a 3-second gap is hard to pull back, and even though we've got 15 laps left, that's 0.3 per lap you got to find. That's significant, so we'll see if he's able to do it or not. J. Cole was able to navigate Jinnit and RC, who still have yet to pit. RC, 15 laps on the mediums. Very solid. I don't think any other driver went longer than 10, so... or maybe 11 or 12 tops, but he's clearly the tire whisperer today. And I think that's a good idea from him to just hang on and wait for the safety car. Fortunately, it didn't come this time, but if a safety car would have come 2-3 laps ago, he would have been in a fantastic position. He's got to take that gamble. So I respect that. Same thing with Jinnit. I mean, those hard tires will still have some life left in them, but yeah, if that safety car would have hit at a different time, this would have been a different race. But up at the front, Zwiedema is pulling back that time, as Larkin seems to be struggling just a little bit. Gap is now about 2.4 seconds, so yeah, he's still going to have to pull in 2-3 tenths a lap by the end of the race, and obviously DRS will help with that, but you have to still continue putting some consistent times. If Larkin can, if I'm Larkin, I'm doing everything I can to keep that gap over a second. So this is the time where Larkin needs to push as well. Looking down the order, the McLarens in 7 and 8, they're in a pretty solid position. Both of them have pit for hards and will be taking those to the end, so both of them probably pretty happy with where they are at the moment. Miami is now closing up to the back of J. Cole. That's something to keep an eye on. Racing Points, similar position. Barton, I think, was one of those drivers who had to pit early for damage, and so he's done a good job getting back into the top 10 and extending that stint on the hard tires. Bag of Bones as well, doing a good job. Dylan doesn't have any time penalties. J. Cole has picked up a time penalty, so that's going to hurt his chances in this race. Certainly hurt his chances at a win. But I'll say that completely erases them, because obviously anything can happen, and you know, it only takes 1 or 2 retirements for something big to change. But certainly, barring any retirements, I think that eliminates J. Cole's chance of winning this race. California doing a good job just holding on to what he can. He had that drive-through penalty, which I believe he served now, but that hurt him as well. But yeah, what I was saying about Dylan there briefly was if he can avoid penalties, he might be promoted into the top 10 after all this is said and done. And people have made pit stops and everything, because RC, we know, still needs to make a stop, because he's still on medium, so he's really extending those. Might even be trying to go medium soft at this point, probably. Certainly everybody who's, you know, Zenith, who started on the hards, is going to be switching to the softs. But yeah, RC, I would imagine now, might be trying to go medium soft. Up at the front, Zuidema is closing that gap. It's now 2 seconds. Lap 16, I think it was 3 seconds. So he's closing that gap, and quickly too. You can see he doesn't have much battery or fuel to play with. He's really pushing. Because he probably knows how crucial it is to get in that DRS zone. Because if he can find DRS here in the next few laps, he can sit in that and save battery and fuel for a late overtake. But we had a pass here. I think that was Adri getting by RC. RC just doing everything he can to make those tires last. Kind of as we had before the pit stops. Gap's starting to settle now, as a lot of drivers have made stops. Let's check in on time penalties. Barton has 6, and Bag of Bones has 3, so that could just end up costing them maybe a position or two. J. Cole and Miami within half a second. That's going to be a close battle for the end, for that last podium position. Yeah, Puff saying in the chat, wonder what RC's thinking out there. He's losing so much time. He is. I mean, he's certainly going to come out towards the end of the field. I would think that he's just going to be going to the softs. Maybe still holding out for another safety car or VSC. I mean, at this point, he's, I think, committed to the medium soft, and so I think he's just holding on to that. That's really all I can think. Yeah, I mean, he's got to be going medium soft and just hoping that there's another safety car or something. If there's a safety car now, he'll probably still come out towards the bottom of the top 10, but I don't remember where he qualified. I think he was outside the top 10, so that's all I can think, is that he's just still playing the waiting game. But you can see what a difference it is for him and Zenith. I mean, Zenith was on hards and was behind RC to start the race, and now he's ahead of him by quite a ways. RC is just losing a bunch of time. Miami in the DRS of J. Cole ahead, but doesn't look like he quite has the pace to get by him today. Fuzz has picked up a 3-second time penalty, so a lot of, you can see all those black and white flags there for penalties. Lots of drivers picking up time penalties around here today. Up at the front, that gap is about 1.9, still hovering around 2 seconds between Larkin and Zuidema. I think Zuidema's got the pace in him to make the pass for the lead. It has just kind of stabilized these last few laps, so maybe Zuidema running out of battery to push with, or maybe Larkin's starting to push harder now. Just a nice Sunday drive for him. Probably forgot he needed to pit. Yeah, I mean, if I were him, I think I would remember when those mediums just gave up all their grip, which I'm sure they did a few laps ago, but yeah, I can't imagine that he's... I think about lap 14 is probably when he just decided, I'm going to have to stay out and take the risk. And unfortunately it didn't pay off for him, but I don't blame him starting outside the top 10 and being on the mediums and everything. At least I believe he started outside the top 10. Let's check where the positions changed. So yeah, he started 11th, so... So our closest battle at the moment is the battle for that final podium position. I believe each of these drivers do have 3 seconds in time penalties, so barring any more penalties, it's a straight fight between the two of them. As RC has come into the pits now, so finally after 20 laps on the medium tires, decided no more. And he's going to be coming out on some softs. Dylan is just passing the start-finish straight right now, so he's going to be in 11th. But knowing there's a couple other drivers who still need to pit, you know, 10th, 9th, 8th, maybe the fastest lap. You know, you look at RC, who was leading the race at one point and now saying 11th. That doesn't look great, but going from 11th to 8th with the fastest lap would look better. So, yeah, I think so. 10 laps on the softs is asking quite a lot when we consider that a lot of the drivers on the first stint, granted it was with heavy fuel, and the tires that have been used in qualifying, so lighter fuel towards the end of the race on a presumably fresh set of soft tires will help, but yeah, 10 laps is... it's going to be a big ask, because Barton has picked up a 3-second time penalty. Ooh, very late move there, and not one that stuck. Miami pulled out very late there, and was not able to make that move stick. Up at the front, Zwiedema is just about 3-4 tenths away from DRS, so that could be a very exciting battle in the closing laps as well. Looks like RC is crossing the line now, so we will see if in about a minute and a half we have a new fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Yeah, Zwiedema is just hovering around that 1 second gap. It was a lot closer. Now it's starting to extend back out. So I think he's got to, I mean, you know, like I said earlier, these are the sort of laps you got to put yourself in a position to make an overtake. You can see between Larkin and Zwiedema in kind of the midpoint of the race. Zwiedema made that mistake. Larkin got through. Larkin was able to make the overtakes on RC and Zenith. Zwiedema struggled a little bit more with that, got stuck behind one of them for an extra sector. You can see those little differences that now add to these couple tenths that are keeping him away from DRS, you know. Those middle laps of the race are just as important. You got to set yourself up for making those overtakes. Zenith now coming into the pits on the soft tires, so he should be put out in probably P8. I think Barton's coming by now and probably will get out ahead of him. But not bad from Zenith. We'll see what RC is able to do. He's closing that gap slowly to Dylan, but not closing it up as fast as he would maybe want. 1.6 seconds now between RC and Larkin as Zwiedema and Larkin as RC sets the fastest lap. We'll see if Zenith is able to have a response to that on slightly fresher tires. This is our closest on-track battle at the moment still. Just about half a second. Zwiedema is just not able to close up that gap to Larkin. Still about a second and a half, 1 point. You know, it's gone, I think the lowest I saw was about 1.2. It's now gone back up to about 1.7, 1.3, 4. he can just get under that second gap, it's going to make all the difference for Zwiedema. He might still have a chance to win this race, but the laps are starting to wind down. I mean, I've been saying that since lap 16, that he's going to have to close that gap to a second, and it's lap 24, and he still has to close that gap down to a second. RC looking closer to Dylan the last couple laps, so he might be able to make an overtake here in a couple laps. Miami just doesn't seem like he quite has the race pace to get by J. Cole. He can hang with him. We saw him pull out and try and overtake earlier, a few laps ago. Didn't quite stick, but looks like he's got the pace to stay with him, but not to get past him. It's a tough place to be. I mean, around Singapore, you can sit in the slipstream pretty well, get that advantage of the DRS down a few of those straights. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it is tough. I mean, J. Cole was within a couple seconds of Zwiedema, and just now that gap is 11 seconds. Just J. Cole on those harder tires, and with the time penalty and having to defend, it's just lost so much time to his teammate. But Puff wondering to the chat, wonder if Jin will be able to catch Fuzz if he clears Barton. He's cleared Barton. Catching Fuzz, I mean, the thing about the sauce is they're just going to fall off in a couple laps, no? Like, I mean, 14 lap on hard tires are not fun, but neither are good. The sauce is going to be after a few more laps. So up at the front, we're going to look away from this battle because Zwiedema has pulled it within a second. So he's made the push and pulled it within a second. So we'll see if he is able to get anything done now on Larkin with about 5-6 laps to go. Very important. Oh, now, and just as I say that, I've almost put the commentator's curse back on him and fell out of DRS, but yeah, and Jin is pulling up to a second of Fuzz. I mean, he might get by Fuzz, but Fuzz could get him back. You never know. Like, those softs just are not a tire to be on if you can avoid them. But for Jin and RC staying out that long, it's the lap here is long. There's a lot of corners, a lot of places you can lock up, a lot of places you can spin up the tires, so they do fall away quickly. Zwiedema has now closed it within half a second. He might have a shot here in this next DRS zone, but then again, he's pretty low on battery, and we see the yellow fuel indicator, so he might just hang out for a couple laps. A lap, maybe. Yeah, we don't see him using any overtake. So he's probably just going to save. Larkin ahead of him doesn't have hardly any battery left. Doesn't have the same fuel indicator, so he might be doing a little bit, can use a little bit more rich mix, but yeah, he doesn't have hardly any overtake use either. Jin has closed up to Fuzz. Now clearing Fuzz and staying ahead of Fuzz is a different story. I assume that he'll be able to get by here. Doesn't have much battery to use. He's been pushing on those softs. Fuzz not making it too difficult for him. So good job from Jin to clear him. RC has cleared Dylan and is in the top 10 now, so he's looking to get, I think, just 1 point. I think Jin took back fastest lap, but up at the front, Miami is still just hanging out in that second window, that DRS window to J. Cole and Zwiedema. Now looks like he's saved up a little bit more battery, a couple extra percent. Still not using any overtake on this straightaway, but maybe down into the next one. Still not using any overtake, just really, really showing some good patience here. I think that's some lap traffic they have ahead of them in the form of California. Yeah, I don't know, Puff. Puff says poor Miami's been stuck behind J. Cole forever. I don't know if that's the case. It might be that J. Cole's pulling him along. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who's the faster of those two drivers at the moment. Obviously, Miami championship leader, but J. Cole is, you know how quick he is. So it might just be that this is Miami's best chance at some good points is to just stay behind him. Looking further down, RC within half a second of Bag of Bones, so he might have one more overtake on the cards. Zvidema has saved up some yet more battery. 30% compared to 11%, so Larkin having to use a little bit more. So we've been able to save a little bit more, maybe this lap. He's got some overtake going. Using a lot of overtake. Is he going to get close enough? He's going to go down the inside. Oh, not quite enough. Larkin able to hold it around the outside, not quite enough there from Zvidema. He needed to be just that little bit closer going into the start of the straightaway, or just be that much braver on the brakes. But very clean, good respectful driving from both of them, definitely leaving each other some good space. But yeah, Zvidema, he's going to want this win. He's going to really want him to make up for that mistake earlier. The lockup is just he's coming in with so much speed because of the DRS. See if he'll try it again. No overtake here. He's only going to have a couple more chances after this, so let's see how much closer he can be now. Looks like Larkin's sliding a little bit. He's got the overtake, he just can't stay close enough through that right-hander. You can see how much he closes with DRS, but he's got to start closer. He's got to be able to carry more speed through that right-hander. He's going to have two more chances at it on laps 30 and 31, but he's going to have to be closer. Larkin is just almost no battery left. Both of these drivers pushing so hard. This is the kind of battle we have come to expect from EU, especially towards the front of the field. Just both drivers pushing so hard, trying to extract every last bit of performance that they can. As RC has picked up a time penalty, that could cost him a position. I think that's 6 seconds for him now. That's 9. Yeah, it's going to cost him. Adri does have 5 seconds, so Jin could be even up in the P5 if those tires hold on. He's all over the back of Larkin. It doesn't matter if he can't stay close to this right-hander. This is the corner right here. He's got to get a better exit there. You can see him using some overtake to try and get closer. He's just not getting the same traction Larkin is. He's so far back, he can't do anything. This is the challenge at Singapore. It comes down to kind of like Spain, kind of like, you know, Australia, some of those tracks where it's difficult to overtake. You have like one part of the track where you really have to be close to the driver in front if you want to get an overtake, and he's just been struggling through that one section. Maybe I'll have to get creative and try a different spot. This could maybe be a spot for an overtake. Struggling, got a little bit wobbly there under traction. Is he going to try it? No, too far back. He's only going to have one more chance. He's going to have to put everything on the line there. Miami's still just within that second window of J. Cole. He's pushing him through this third sector. He's got to stay close through the first sector, though. These are the corners right here that could make or break the race for Sweden. How late is going to break? Pretty late. Right here, he's got to get a good exit, and he gets a pretty good exit. He stays closer to Larkin and then struggles in the second phase of the acceleration zone there. And he's too far back. He's too far back. He wasn't getting a good enough exit. And Larkin's going to hold on. Because unless Larkin has a big lockup or big mistake, that was the best chance to overtake that I think Zuidema's going to have. Zuidema just had that little bit of wobble under traction, and that has cost him. You see how close he's been for so long. He has the pace to do it. He just couldn't stay. He couldn't stay close where it counted. Maybe it's a setup. Maybe it's the line he's taking through that corner. Maybe it's the dirty air. I don't know, but yeah, it's going to be a bittersweet race for Zuidema. He had a chance at this victory. Was in the net lead of the race, locked up trying to get by Jin, who hadn't pit yet, and that cost him the spot to Larkin. Larkin was then able to dispose of that traffic a little bit better, and ultimately that's what cost him, or that's what ultimately when and where Larkin won the race. So great job from Larkin. Zuidema going to come home for a very bittersweet P2. Miami, I don't know how many, I lost track of how many laps he was within the DRS of J. Cole, but it doesn't matter. J. Cole's going to hold on for P3. Miami just outside the top, or the podium in P4. Adri is going to come home P5, I believe. Let's see what his penalty situation is. 8 seconds, actually. No, I don't think so. I think Adri is going to lose P5 to Jin when he crosses the line. Well, it's an unserved penalty, so not sure what that time penalty was. I guess there's always a chance that that gets removed. Fuzz going to come home in P7 on track at least. RC, we know he's got a lot of time penalties, was leading the race at one point, made the impossible medium-soft strategy work, at least for finishing the race. Might not have been the fastest way around for him, but he is going to get P10, so we'll get a point for this race. So he's still moved up overall, which is going to be excellent. Dylan coming home just outside the points in P11, and then California, I believe, in P12, who had a very tough race with the drive-through penalty that cost him. So yeah, some great drives, some really good battling up at the front, and yeah, a couple examples there of just how crucial every single lap can be. We saw that with Zuidema and just that one lockup, which cost him the position, which cost him a chance to get by that lap traffic, which allowed Larkin to open up a big gap, which took a long time for Zuidema to close, and then didn't have enough left in the tank to get the overtake done for the lead. So you can see just that one little mistake, that one lockup, that one lost position on lap 14, 15, 16, somewhere around there. Ended up costing the race victory. So great job from Larkin, coming from P4 to win. So we've done at P2, J. Cole, the other Williams, rounding out the podium. Championship leader Miami coming home P4. Jin at P5, Adri P6, pending some penalties that he might appeal, not sure. Fuzz P7, Barton P8, Bag of Bones P9, RC rounding out the top 10. Then outside the top 10 we have Dylan and California. California did set the fastest lap in P12, but won't get a point for it as he finishes outside the top 10. Then we had some DNFs in the form of Zamoglis, Beck, and JXW. So very exciting race. Very interesting to see how this one developed. Yeah, wow, crazy battle at the front. All sorts of strategy and overtakes, and yeah, just a very interesting race. Not the most overtaking we've ever seen in ZOR, not the most overtaking we've ever seen in the EU tier, but still, Singapore did not disappoint, despite no safety car to move the field around. Still a very interesting and entertaining race. So well done to all the drivers. Good show as always. We will be back for round 17, the Russian Grand Prix, on December 6th. So break week next week. We'll be back on December 6th for the Russian Grand Prix, so we will see you guys then.